Hey everybody, this is Jeffrey Lyles. You're listening to Lyles Movie Files. We've made it to episode 25. It's the silver anniversary. We're talking about Fast and Furious drama. Why can't Vin Diesel and The Rock get along? We're talking about Avengers 4. What's the big deal with this? The title of this movie that's going to spoil the big reveal in Avengers Infinity War. I can't wait. We're talking about that. We're talking about movies that just completely shocked us with a big twist that we never saw coming. We're breaking down Black Lightning. We're talking about The Walking Dead. And yeah, we're back on target with Arrow. So, hope you enjoy this show. And I'll be back on the other side. Alright, it's Wednesday, April the 4th. Big round of news. Lots of cool stuff happening. You're listening to Lyles Movie Files. I'm Jeffrey Lyles. Joining me today is my main man, Chief. Chief, what's up, man?
What's up, Jeff?
I'm good, man. You sound hyped. How was the day?
The day was wonderful. And then at the end of it, I get to talk with you guys about movies and shows. So it always ends up well on a Wednesday.
Nice. I appreciate having you as always. Chase, what's up, bro?
What's going on, bro? I'm good. That was a fun day. The life and a paycheck. That's all we got.
All we got. And the one and only Javon King. What's up with you, man?
Man, I'm living excellence.
Outstanding. All right, let's just jump right into it because there's a lot I want to talk about, a big feature that we want to go on with today. So let's just jump right into it. So TV, we had Arrow return after taking a little break from March Madness, and Arrow has been crazy with this consistency level. Like 1 week it's awesome. It's very much like Walking Dead, where 1 week is great, the other week is kind of eh. The next week it's sort of good. The next week it's bad. It's just all over the place. This was an episode of Arrow. I felt like we're closing in now. We're starting to get to the back end of the season. It's time for it to start picking up and getting that momentum as it goes into that home stretch. Jace, it really didn't do it for me because we had way too much stupid drama. We had Roy come back only to leave with Thea, and now Roy and Thea are written off. Nothing happened. And I'm just thinking about it. If Thea had gotten killed from Prometheus on the island, would anything really have changed this season? I feel like this season's always been in a hole because nothing really happened after Prometheus did that kill everybody on the island, and the only person I managed to kill was the baby mama that no one cared about. So what do you think has been going on? And we need to talk about Curtis, but I just wanted to cue you up real fast on that stuff first.
Okay, well, also going with the factors, like, not only did you lose baby mama, who everybody knew was probably going to die, but you also lost Malcolm Merlin, which was kind of a link to the first season where he could always pop in as kind of a gray character that we've been missing this season. Like, even having Slade come back, it was like, oh, he's kind of good now. It's not the same, like, season 2 badass. But you had the first time where Slade was this really great character. Now he was kind of a neutered character, like his flashback from season 1. It's like you're losing some of that, like, okay, who's this real big bad? And this season has not, even when it was Caden James, we're like, okay, this could be good, but we're waiting to see what happens. Like, what's this big explosion that's really going to take this season over the top? But at that exact moment we got the clip, we found out it's the big bad is really Stooge number 2. And his plan is just to do what Stooge number 1 was going to do anyway. Bad guy number 1 was going to do. And we just haven't felt like there's any real, like, oh, there's real drama on this. It's like, okay, we're losing members of Team Arrow. Thea could have got killed on, like I said, Thea could have died on the island. We had lost, like, say, half a Team Arrow, like, where it was just Black Canary and Oliver left. That would have been a real game changer. Now it's just kind of losing characters by attrition, but it doesn't seem like it's for any real good reason. And I think that's why the season started to suffer. And now I think you said we're kind of like in this 4 or 5 episode left. It's like, there's nothing that's going to make the season really pop, because it's like, I know who the big bad guy is. and all Oliver has to do really is just put an arrow through this guy's heart. And this is over, and that's it. We don't need anything. We got Roy back, but that meant nothing. Thea's gone now. Black Canary is. We got 2 Black Canaries running around, and we have Black Siren, but that hasn't. I mean, she was really good. Now it's like we're waiting for this master plan of hers, and it's still just not looking like it's popping. So it doesn't look like it's going to be an okay season versus last season's greatness. So that's I think we had that letdown season just after Prometheus.
Right. Well, the good news is that Arrow, along with all the other CW superhero shows, with the exception so far of iZombie, have all been renewed for another season. I kind of going into this one, I figured this couldn't be season 6 just wasn't going to be as good as season 5. That was good throughout, and season 6 had some good moments. It has some good elements, and there are still some subplots that are being developed that are leading to good episodes, but it's just not coming together as a whole. And there's just too much dumb stuff that is the second half of the season they don't need. I just counted up. It looks like there's still 7 more to go, but these next 7 are going to have to really bring it to get this show or this season to have me excited about it. Because right now I'm just kind of, whatever. Now, one show that this week I was very excited about was Chief and Javon's not so favorite show, The Walking Dead. And Walking Dead I felt like this was an episode that had a lot going on, and we had some fun stuff happening, and some actual character progression, and actual connections to things that have happened way back in season 1 and season 2. We had Rick and Morgan decide they need to hunt down those escaped savior prisoners, and then we had Carol going on the hunt for Henry, and that kind of tied back into her whole failure when she wasn't quite the warrior she is now, when she was trying to find her daughter and had to rely on people like Daryl to go track her down and save her, which ultimately did work. But this turned out a lot different for her, and she got, I guess, kind of a bow on her redemptive arc of not being able to save her daughter, but being able to save this little kid. And then we had Negan and Jadis have this really interesting dynamic where Jadis could have killed Negan 20 times and decided not to, and then Negan finally opened up about Lucille a little bit, and now he knows he's got some cleaning house to do back in the sanctuary with one Simon. And then there's the mystery of who he picked up on the side of the road. Chief, I'm going to start with you. What did you think about this one?
It wasn't a truly memorable episode for me. It was okay in some aspects. What's going on with Rick? That's the question I need to ask, man. I mean,
bro,
Rick is a conundrum now, man. He's just a plain. To me, he's turning into one of the bad guys in a sense. And I don't know if that changes now that he's read Carl's letter, or that continues. But I didn't dig the fact, the promises Rick makes, and then turns around and breaks them. Because I think you know what I mean. I thought that was kind of foul.
Yeah. It was foul. It was
foul. Like I thought, because like the dudes let him go, untied him, and they wanted to actually, be a part of go home and maybe be a part of Hilltop with them. And Rick turned around and turned on him. If the main character has no substance behind him, what does that do to the show? So I don't like the direction that they're taking Rick right now. As far as the Negan thing, that aspect to me has gotten interested, because now I'm trying to figure out what the heck this guy's gonna do. You know, he's got a cake baking, and you know, I'm just, you know, I can't wait to see what flavor it is for real. My man, the King, I was watching, and he was shaming my girl Carol there, but wasn't it Carol like 4 or 5 episodes ago had to get this guy off the ground? He didn't even want to move.
Yeah, wasn't he like in a fetal position?
Yeah, he was in a fetal position, right? And then you gonna come back and you know, turn on the girl. You was just crying about your whole squad getting, you know, I smile because I can, and then all this and that. And then you coming at Carol in that way, and I'm like, dude, you was just a girl. You was just a little girl a couple of weeks ago, you know?
Right. Swerve, man.
So, yeah, like, you know, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I done left that little boy out there.
Come on, Chief, man.
Listen, hold on, dude. Listen, he caused a lot of problems, my man. Listen, we're not living in a society such as we are today. There are rules in place because of the way they're living now. So this is the thing. They ran out there and they ran after a little boy who basically let all of the sailors loose. Copped a gun he wasn't supposed to cop. He made several bad choices all at once. and then he fled the compound. Like, you made several bad choices and ran?
Dude.
Listen, obviously you wanted to be alone. And I would have left him out there alone. Now, hey, listen. Hey, man, I'm not, you know, the thing about, now the Morgan situation, does anyone turn their back on Morgan?
Yo,
if they haven't by now.
I think Morgan's really interesting because Morgan is one of these few dudes who actually looks really mentally rattled by everything that's going on. I wrote my review. Nah, but I mean, it's like everybody's worried about these doctors who can fix up people, patch up people, and deliver babies. But I think the first time they introduce somebody who can like analyze these people and really get in their heads, who's trained, that character could be really interesting. And that character really needs to have some long couch time with Morgan because he's really interesting. He's all over the place, and you just kind of look at it from the sense that he is just reacting any way to any situation that's going on right at that moment. And he's not thinking too much. And he's just becoming like this force of nature. And when he let old boy get killed by holding his hair to the fence, that was vicious. I was like, man.
Yeah.
The homeboy earned that.
He really did. And
he earned it.
Yeah, I was happy to see him get killed in a way that meant something. But yeah, it was crazy. But Morgan didn't even like, you know, old Morgan maybe like 2-3 episodes ago would have been like, oh no, I can't believe what I did. Now he's like, yeah, that's what you get, dude.
But Jeff, hold up, Chief, you finish? Because I really want to hear all your takes.
No, the only thing I was saying is has we're noticing Morgan going crazy, it seems that they are too. Yeah. And I was just saying, right. So any situation that Morgan would be in front of me at all times.
All the time.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I gotta watch him. And you know what I mean? It's like that. You take your man to the bar who likes to get drunk, but when he gets drunk, he acts stupid. So you always gotta watch him when here we go. Hey, hold up. And so, you know, but I mean, that's my take. I don't have a whole lot, other than, and I don't know if we discussed this. I guess this might have been this week's or last week's episode for a garbage heap, old girl kept her cabin pretty spacious, didn't she? I swear, that's still...
For her one-bedroom efficiency?
Yo, I mean, she had lights. She had a little... she had a cupboard.
She had a little bathroom fixture.
Right.
Yeah. All right,
she had a minimalist apartment.
You take it, man.
All right. Chief, you made so many great points, and Jeff, you made a good one. And I've told y'all how I feel about Morgan with his... Every couple episodes or so, Morgan waffles back between all life is precious Morgan to, okay, I'm killing everything in front of me. And that's just the way it is. And I get it. He's a tortured man. And the thing is, Rick has seen him in his helpful, all there state to his batshit crazy state where he was... Remember when he, Michonne, and Carl stumbled upon him when they were still battling with the governor and his group, right?
Mm-hmm.
You remember when they crossed paths again?
Yep.
And Morgan was insane out there, right?
Right.
It's a combination of both. I just wish that we could decide, and when I say we, the writer, I mean the writers of The Walking Dead could decide, where is Morgan's mental state and who is he actually going to be?
But I think that's the thing with Morgan. It's like he's not there. He's not all there. And he's been lost ever since his son was killed. Like, he's tried different techniques.
Yeah.
He's tried to do the meditation. That didn't work.
Yeah.
He tried to talk. But I think that he's way more interesting than, I kind of was like, man, these writers don't know what they're doing. But I think they're really trying to show the total breakdown of this dude's mind. And it's just so fractured.
I think what they, like you're saying, they're trying to show the breakdown of the mind, right? How this can psychologically affect people, and what they have to do. But at a certain point, you're not going to keep... Look, only to me, from what I've observed from the psyche, when people have heavy trauma within their lives, the only thing that can keep them balanced is medicine and less trauma. When there is no medicine and there's constant trauma, you're going to go to the extreme every time, right?
Well, that's what happened. No, but see what happened. The cool thing with Morgan was he hung out with that guy who showed him how to relax and all that good stuff.
Meditation.
Precious. Yeah. And then he met Henry, and whether he wanted to or not, he kind of got that father-son attachment like he had for his son, Dwayne. And then when he saw when he saw Henry start to be a killer, he was like, no, I have to protect him from becoming like me. So then he went back on the edge and become murder, death, kill machine again. And so he snapped. And now, even though Henry's back, he's like, oh, I'm so sorry. Morgan's too far gone to even be like, oh, I can't believe what I did. He's like, no, you don't apologize. I did what I needed to do. And I'm like, I'm protecting you by being the vicious killer. And because of what they're doing with Morgan, I'm a lot more interested in seeing what happens as he travels over to Fear the Walking Dead, just to see if they continue to develop that with him, because he's becoming a really interesting character.
But my thing, go ahead, Jace.
I was gonna say, but at this point, he's like, all right, saying he formed his father-son attachment to Henry. He's now like, okay, if I had been like, this guy when my son was dead, as soon as I saw Walking Dead version of my wife, I wouldn't have hesitated to knock her out. Like, I kill these zombies. Like, there's not a second thought.
But that's the same thing that happened with Carol. Carol was like, she was too mentally weak to help Sophia. So she's had her up and down moments, but when it comes to saving a kid, like with those two girls, she was protecting them, and then she was heartbroken when the girl who also had mental issues killed her sister, and she was broken down again. And now with Henry, it's like, I thought this episode was really cool because we focus on three characters who lost children and who have dealt with the coping in very drastically different ways. And Morgan keeps losing it, and Carol has found her inner strength, and she's become a much better version of herself since losing her daughter, and to the point where she can now save a kid who's being surrounded and has no other options. And with Rick, it was even more fascinating because he was he was like at that brink of becoming as crazy and unhinged as Morgan. And Morgan was like, I saved you because my son was there. And Rick was able to connect the dots and be like, well, geez, this is what's happened to him since he's lost his son. Am I there too?
Right.
Or is there still enough time for me to pull back?
Right. But with that said, when does Morgan, at this stage, your son's been gone a long time and you've experienced a lot in that time. And this is just me speaking personally, I would love to see a totally unhinged Morgan out here. I would love to see that because that would show the total trauma of what this world can do to you, and not just dealing with the zombies, dealing with the obvious. Because like we've established long ago, the zombies live to feed. They're the constant, right? The people are the real threat. I would love to see the totally unhinged Morgan and how people deal and respond to that. How people deal and respond to someone whose cheese is slid off the cracker. Because when you got somebody who is that volatile, dude, you don't know when and how to approach them. You kind of just have to let them go. Having somebody like that in the show adds a whole nother dynamic, and it's not dependent on whether or not we decide this episode whether he's compass or whether he's falling off the rails again. Hey, keep him off the rails.
Hey,
but isn't that truly like how Rick treated Shane? Like that, once he figured out what was going on, he's like, hey, I don't trust this dude. I got to keep, like you said, keep him in front of you at all times.
But with Shane, it was a different dynamic. You already knew with Shane's modus operandi. Hey, I want your wife.
But he had that personal connection too.
Never, I want your wife. It was literally.
Yeah, but Morgan doesn't want anything from anyone. Morgan doesn't want anything from anybody. Honestly, he just wants to be left alone.
No, Morgan wants to be part of a community, but he doesn't know how to be in it anymore. Chief, now, my question for you.
He still wants to be left alone.
I don't know. Chief, would you kick him out of the group? Because I'm curious what they end up doing, and if he leaves on his own, or if he's just going to be like, I can't do this anymore, I'm leaving you guys. Or if Rick and company go, Morgan, you got to go.
I don't think unless Morgan takes a life in the group, I don't think they're going to kick him out because he has been so vital to some of these missions. Like Morgan goes hard, and when you have zombies, you need to go hard, dude, on your team. Even though sometimes you're like, you take them. You know what I mean? You know, like you can almost see somebody grabbing Morgan's hand and be like, hey, big guy, the sun is going down soon. You know what I mean? Oh, yeah. So that's the way I see Morgan sometimes. He goes Hulk, and the whole thing is. But I think eventually, Morgan, he's going to walk away himself. Because every once in a while he has that. What's that? Like my man Samuel Jackson said, what alcoholics refer to as a moment of clarity. And he's going to be like, oh, I need to be by myself for a while. Exactly. You know, I'm not going to be able to, I've got to get right. And I think he's going to leave to get right. The interesting part about this Morgan situation is this, though. We're season, 7 or 8 of Walking Dead?
We're 8, yeah.
It's only season 2 of Fear of Walking Dead?
No, they're on 3 or 4.
Yeah. Well, they're still 4. They're 3 or 4 years behind.
I don't think they're behind anymore. I think at some point they've caught up because they've been very vague in terms of the time frame.
They've had a time They've had a time forward. Last year was a time forward. Yeah.
Did you watch last year? I mean, just out of curiosity.
No.
Oh, let me tell you something. Let me say this about Fear the Walking Dead. It's getting to that point where, remember when American Dad surpassed Family Guy? Anybody who watches it. Listeners, if you watch it.
I've never watched American Dad.
Right. You never watched it, right? But anybody who
I felt like I was cheating on Family Guy.
No, you weren't. You wouldn't have been. You wouldn't have been because at some point American Dad got funnier than Family Guy. That's what it is.
Really?
Right? Yes. Give it a shot. Give it a shot. Especially the seasons 5, really seasons 4 through now. American Dad beat out Family Guy. It came into its own. Yeah.
How are the racially insensitive jokes? Are they good?
Oh, they're terrific. They're terrific.
Because that's why I watch Family Guy. Family Guy says some things that...
No, they say things you wish you could say, right, in public settings.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'll be like, oh my Jesus. So, okay.
But you know what American Dad doesn't do? It doesn't get lazy within itself. It doesn't rely on its tropes. American Dad pushes the boundaries for each of its characters, and that's what makes it funny. It's not just the racial insensitivity, which is hilarious, but it doesn't make that a primary focus. It doesn't offend for the sake of offensive. It offends for the sake of the laugh. And when they came into their own, oh my God, it's hilarious. And that's what Fear the Walking Dead's going through right now. They've come into their own and established their own show outside of what The Walking Dead is doing. And they're not at the point where The Walking Dead, like I keep saying, it's collapsing under the weight of its own popularity. Fear the Walking Dead doesn't have to do that. They're not faced with that. Hey, we can kill off major characters. We can add not crazy elements, but we can insert a dose of reality, because this is offset from what Kirkman is writing and the direction that they want to see it go into. We're on our own territory, so we can take it where we want to go. So that's why it's coming to its own now.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, well, you sure have convinced me.
Yeah, check it out, man. Check it out. Seriously.
All right, Chief, you and I were behind a little bit on Black Lightning. I know we still haven't caught up just yet, but we watched that last week episode where Lala decided he doesn't mind going a little bit crazy, and he's becoming a really interesting character there too. And he was that dude where when they killed him off, I was like, man, I think he was a little too cool for y'all to write off so soon. But bringing him back, we still don't know how this happened, but bringing him back has made him really interesting. And he's seeing visions, just like Morgan. He's seeing visions of people he's killed, and he's like, but unlike Morgan, he does not care, and he's just talking the same chill manner as before. And he's ripping dudes' ears off. He is walking up on other cats, daring them to pull triggers. When they pull triggers, he doesn't flinch. He's just really strong. And then the family dynamic has been great, because everybody knows everybody has powers, and that going through that stupid thing of trying to keep stuff secret. Everything's out in the open, and they can communicate, and it just feels so much fresher, and it doesn't feel like it's burdened down by that whole let's make somebody else a superhero and let's add another person who doesn't contribute anything, like we've seen with Flash and with Arrow, and geez, even with Supergirl, because she's practically has two teams. So we're getting some really cool, interesting developments with Black Lightning. We see who the main bad guys are, and they've even managed to keep this momentum going and keep Tobias Whale out of the spotlight. So we've got him in the back pocket, so we can call him up when needed. But there's another threat that Black Lightning can deal with, and with Lala as well. So there's like 3 villains kind of in the mix, and with maybe 4 more episodes, they don't have to deal with all of them at once, and they can actually move on to next season and advance all of these subplots. I just did a real brief summary, but what are you thinking about what's going on with Black Lightning so far?
Is it me? You talking to me, or the game?
You.
I'm loving Black Lightning so far. And I was trying to, I'll go through a show and I'll rip it up for certain things, like. For example, you mentioned Supergirl. I got angry at an episode because she was fighting another super-powered character, and they threw her into a car, and she bounced off the car, and the car didn't dent. And this is the thing about a show you love, and I was trying to put another, my famous analogy.
Mm-hmm.
So you do something wrong to your girl, right? And she's mad at you. You cheat on her or whatever. If you tell your girl anything that sounds like it could be true, she will grab that. She will grab that. So this is the thing. You're loving these shows. That's you. You're loving the shows. And if they do anything in the show that you say, that might could happen, it keeps you going to the show. What happens with a lot of these shows is they're doing things that we know are impossible, that could never happen, that aren't true. And we're faced with that lie, and it starts to turn us off from these shows. Like, we know you're lying, you know? So, and we're just looking for something that we could say, maybe, even though it's far off, you know, a bunch of clowns hit my car, and it flipped over, and that's why I'm late. Maybe, you know,
Maybe.
the sun exploded, and the whole Earth went into supernova. Oh, I know that's a lie. You know, so far, Black Lightning has given you these maybes. And that's why I think this is my favorite new show that's come out so far. It hasn't been even like the. I'm even enjoying the fact that him and his daughter work together. Mm-hmm. I like the dynamic of that. I like the fact that him and his wife aren't on great terms, and he's got to work at that. I even enjoy the music. Mm-hmm. Matter of fact, I was listening to, I think maybe it was last week's episode, and the song in the background was playing was like, I Can't Breathe. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Which I say, well, that's interesting, background song. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Considering everything that's happened out here in the real world. So Black Lightning has a lot of good points. It's giving you a story that you could say, hey, that's possible that character would actually do that. Or, when people hit walls and people on the other side of the wall, people get knocked out. Things, it hasn't given you that foolishness. It hasn't given you that foolishness.
You're not watching that show thinking, okay, this is total nonsense.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. So if a show gives you just something to believe in, you can sit down and enjoy that show. You know what I mean? And that's the way a lot of the shows lose you or lose me. I can't speak for all of you, but lose because they're not giving you anything to believe in the substance of the characters, of the storyline, of the action. Everything is kind of more or less like they'll just, hey, listen, this is the story we're giving you. Go ahead, eat it. And the story is right. And so far this storyline, so far, I can say, hey, that's believable to a sense. Mm-hmm. And which makes me enjoy the show, which makes me want to watch Black Lightning versus, sometimes Flash acts up. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like after being missing from his job for a year and a half, 2 years, he just walks back in. Where you going? I'm going to work. That kind of stuff. He's like, what? That nobody has a job where you can just not go for 2 years and then show up to. Oh yeah, hey Lon, you back? Yeah, guys, I'm back. Where you been? You crazy. Anyways, what we got on the agenda today? No. It doesn't happen. Supergirl doesn't beat Superman. You know what I mean? Supergirl 1 week picks up a key that weighs 100 million tons, right? She's talking to the Jimmy Olsen at the time. They're standing outside the Fortress of whatever, Solitude. There we go. She picks up a key made of a door star. You remember that episode? Mm-hmm. And he's like, hey, that's 1 million tons. That's 100 million tons. She just picks it up. Matter of fact, she's giggling while she picks it up. Oh, really? A couple of episodes later, she's picking up the mountain that everybody's in. And he's like, hey, that's 1 million tons. She's screaming now. Like, this is heavy. But it's the same 100 million tons that was in the door key, the door star.
One you did was
like who wrote that? Yeah, like who wrote that? So this last week she's giggling while she's picking it up with Jimmy Olsen, 100 million tons. This week she's screaming like she's in pain. And this is the funny part. it's over a bigger range that she's picking up. The weight is more evenly spread. It was condensed in a ball when you first picked it up. So, and that's what I'm saying, guys. That's what I mean by giving me something I can believe. If you give me something that even sounds plausible, I'll still love you behind it. Well, maybe she didn't cheat. Maybe I can accept that. But you give me some old whacked out story, you're lying to me. You think I'm stupid. That's what you're getting at. You think I'm stupid, don't you?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Much.
And so that's what these, and like I said, Black Lightning's not giving you that yet. I don't know if it will go downhill, if the writers will get, other companies will get them like, hey, those are pretty good writers. Let's go ahead and offer them more. And then we start getting the bargain basement writers. You know what I mean?
Chris Williams, the star of Black Lightning, was actually at an Awesome Con, and I was able to talk to him for a few minutes. And he said that this was like right before the announcement on Monday. So I talked to him on Saturday. So they announced on Monday that they were all being renewed. He said that they were, 2 was pretty much a lock, and they're working now on renewing season 3. So we're getting that season 3 signed up. So
now, Jeff, Chief, Jace, you know what happens when shows get popular. What happens is continuity, consistency with storytelling, all that goes out the window. And we get the ridiculous. Now, do you guys feel like there's a fear that this may happen with Black Lightning?
It can happen with any show, but the thing with Black Lightning is the creative team is not spread thin building up the rest of that universe. Like, it definitely felt that the Arrow writers spent a little bit of time on Flash, and then it seemed like the Flash writers, who were so good the first season, really, really good the first season, pretty good the second season, then had to go spend more time on Legends and Supergirl when that came in to the CW. So I think Black Lightning is just in this pocket universe in the CW, and the creative team is able to just make Black Lightning as good as it's been. And based off the critical acclaim, I don't think that they're going to have that same issue. I mean, you can just tell. I mean, some of these episodes are just watered down. It was kind of like, How I Met Your Mother started off really good. It was so great. Yeah. And then it got popular, and then it started to suck. And that didn't go 8 seasons. That was by season 3, it was starting to get real shaky. So I don't think that Black Lightning is not going to be that, because they're using real life stories, like headlines, ripped from today's tweets and everything else. And so long as you've got black people who are oppressed in some way, they're going to have stories that are relevant and that resonate with their audience. So I don't see that being a problem with that one, because they're more than just a superhero show. It's like a family. It's about a black man who's trying to help other black kids be more than that. And I don't think that's going to get tired or old for a very long time.
Yeah, because you can focus on, if they focus on the family dynamics, you can basically do family and then have like a story Bible on, like, okay, here's some of the stuff that we've done with this character. Don't go off left field that says this storyline could possibly happen. Don't pull a Smallville Veritas that makes no dang sense if you've been watching 6 seasons. Don't pull, just pull basically like a Lost. Like, Lost never did anything that couldn't have happened in the first season. In the 5th season, something didn't happen that couldn't happen in the first season. Like, as long as they stick with that, don't get too bloated on like maybe 22 episodes. Like this 13 episode right here, I really think, like I think you mentioned in one of your posts, Jeff, that they really should stick with this format, because 13 just seems like you don't have those stupid episodes where you're just like,
no,
oh, can we get
you don't have
13? Can we get to 22 yet? Like, that's what's happened in a lot of the CW shows. Is like Arrow seems like, all right, we got good. Oh, if we could have cut this episode completely, we'd be fine. Like Flash, oh gosh, do we need to get Ralph over? No, like cut them down to 15 episodes, tighten them up. They're good.
I'd argue with you on Arrow. I think Arrow has shown with season 1, 2, and 5 that they can do 22 or 23 episodes and do all of them, or the vast majority of them, well. It's just a matter of they need to have a strong storyline and carry it out over that amount of time. I think Supergirl, and maybe it's just that benefit of having these breaks and splitting that time with Legends, I'm actually looking forward to Supergirl coming back. So I think what they need to do is probably stagger these shows. So do 13 at a time, and then maybe you have like your season 6A and season 6B, and then you come back
to like Heroes did.
We'll do it better than Heroes, or at least season.
Heroes had
anything
like
past season 1.
Before winter break, they had the winter break, the winter finale, and then after that, it was here's the next storyline.
Yeah, I mean that's the way I think they need to do this going forward, because it's very rare. I mean, it's just rare throughout this universe that they have one compelling villain who is interesting and can keep making moves that can carry through for 22 episodes. That's too much to ask. And then the Netflix shows, they can't do it for 13 episodes. It's just, they need to kind of like, hey, we need to introduce more than one bad guy and have them be the first quarter villain, second quarter villain, and we can see how that main villain was connected to these guys along the way. But I think asking one villain and asking the heroes to try to battle one guy for 22 episodes instead of beating him, and then it's like how Chief was saying, they come up with some way that they could have come up with months ago, and it's like, why didn't you do that before? Oh, well, we had to keep the fight going. So, and Jace, what did you think about the big twist with this last or second to last episode, where we found out who was feeding Proctor and his crew all that information about these meta-powered kids? What did you think about that? Because I did not see that twist coming at all.
I like that, because it was like we just thought she was the, hey, you're single, I'm single, hey, whatever. We didn't think she had an alternate agenda. We thought she was just say, I'm just, trying to hook up with the president. A principal. But then it was like, oh, okay. That was just, I thought you were just a small character. That was a very good twist. Oh, I'm sorry. I want to jump back one little step. Mm-hmm. But as you said with Black Lightning, they did a smart job of having 3. He's got 13 episodes. We're not even in 10 episodes. He's got 3 storyline bad guys that could either be 3 episodes, 4 episodes, or 5 episodes. So, and put them all together, we got a whole season right there. But I like I said, now going back, I really liked the twist on, I don't know her name, but I thought that was like, okay, that was a good move, because you don't have to introduce a new character, but that was very much like, oh, okay, good job. Good job, Vice Principal.
Yeah.
You are dirty.
Chief, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I never saw that coming. Funny thing about it is they put her so far out the way, you didn't really even think about her unless she was in the scene. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It wasn't one of those things where you know what's going on with the vice principal. I didn't. Who thought about it? The last time I saw her, she was like, get your own secretary. I don't, but I never even thought about her. She stomped out the room. I thought she was honestly hurt behind that. Like I said, the Black Knight it's been surprising me here and there. Like I said, I never expected Jill Scott's demise.
Mm-hmm.
So to see the vice principal in this role, as far as finding out what kids, and just think, I guess they got people in every school all around the city. If that's the case, you know what I mean? Because what made this school special than any other school? So they must, whatever this organization, ASA, whatever organization this thing is, there must be people. They must have people stationed in every school. Like I said, I didn't expect it. I was pleasantly surprised. I like surprises in shows. So Black Lightning keeps giving.
It does.
It keeps giving, and I like presents.
All right, I want to get back to one other thing, but I just saw this, and I wanted to get you guys quick take on this latest developments with the seemingly never dying Fast and the Furious franchise drama. So Dwayne Johnson had an interview with Rolling Stone, and he explained his riff to some degree with Vin Diesel. And he did say that in Fate of the Furious, he did not have one scene that he shot at the same time with Vin. So their stuff had gone that far where they couldn't even do a scene together. And I know that the storyline didn't call for a lot of interaction, but the fact that they had to shoot it at separate times is just crazy. So basically, here's what Johnson said. Vin and I had a few discussions, including an important face-to-face in my trailer. What I came to realize is that we have a fundamental difference in philosophies on how we approach movie making and collaborating. It took me some time, but I'm grateful for that clarity, whether we work together again or not. So basically, we may not see Hobbs back in the Fast and Furious franchise proper. And I'm kind of curious because this has made a lot of money. I mean, this is pretty much the only non-Star Wars franchise that's anywhere close to Marvel. So you gotta imagine that Universal execs are going nuts trying to figure out how to get these guys on the same page. But to me, the bigger tragedy of this is that unlike maybe the Marvel Studios or Marvel Cinematic Universe and Star Wars to a greater extent, this one features a cast of mostly minority performers. And it's just kind of like, man, we can't do anything. We can't even work together to keep a big franchise going. And it's just kind of disappointing because I know there's always drama with Hollywood or whatever, but those Marvel cats don't have any problem making tons of money with each other. And Infinity War is the 19th movie. Now, granted, they haven't done 19 movies together, but you haven't heard peep one about anybody even being upset about, oh, well, Robert Downey Jr. had more screen time than me. I mean, it's just weird how that's worked out. They're the most successful franchise, and it's a wrap. Jace, what's going on with the Fast and Furious that they've gone so far off the rails? Do you think they'll be able to get back on track, pun intended, and what's next for the future of this franchise?
Not knowing those two guys, I would say, as just a fan of the movie, I would actually say you're probably not going to see Hobbs back. As much as Dwayne Johnson is the bona fide movie star, one of the things that really made him a bona fide movie star was coming into the Fast and Furious. So, but they were on a nice trajectory without him. So they're like, especially you got Tyrese and Vin. They got, hey man, we want him out. I think he's out. He's big, but they had a really good thing going on without him. And Ben will make some money. He'll make some money on some spinoffs with Jason Statham. Yeah, so they'll be fine. But I think this is probably one of those situations like go your separate ways, make your money, still part of the Fast and Furious franchise, but you don't have to work with somebody if you really fundamentally can't get along with them.
All right, Javon, you seem like you're chopping at the bit. What do you think about this?
What was Vin Diesel's last hit outside of Fast and Furious?
If you want to count the Guardians, you can count them. He's made money on those Riddick films.
He's made money on Riddick films. He was the voice of Groot. But as Vin Diesel being Vin Diesel soaking up camera time as Vin Diesel, it's only Fast and the Furious and Triple X. That's it.
He has the ability to make like the Witch Hunter and
Jason,
Last
if you
Witch
would
Hunter.
do a Vin Diesel movie right now with Vin Diesel stars as action hero cop outside of something that's familiar, you ain't gonna make no money, and they put it out in September.
A lot of those other movies, it's Vin Diesel by himself. He might not spend $20 million. I don't know what the budget on those Witch Hunter or those Riddick projects, but the point is he can actually make them because Universal has made a crap load of money based on the franchise he was a part of. So
the franchise,
Jason,
The Rock is making movies 3-4 times a year for the last 5 years. The Rock is always on your film. He's always on your movie screen. He's always out there.
All right,
Making
so
money.
because y'all were curious, hold up, because y'all were curious, I looked it up. Vin Diesel last year made 54.5 million, and The Rock made 65 million. Johnson did a whole lot more to earn that money, but I think some of it is that Johnson's just hungry to work. And he does a lot of stuff. And Vin Diesel doesn't need to do as much to make that's pretty close. He's going to come out ahead this year because of his involvement in Infinity War. So it's a wrap. He won't need to do anything else. And for him, he's going to make money off of Dwayne when he does that spinoff. So, because he's a producer on everything with Fast and Furious.
Everybody here has a job. Somewhere in that building, there is somebody that you don't dig, that works with you. Right? Now, I don't know any of your finances, but I would guess that none of us here are millionaires. Right? So for your 6 figures that you make every year, you go in, you deal with the person you don't like because they're paying you to do so. Now, if they were paying me millions to deal with a person I didn't like, and this is the crazy thing about this, how can I say sissified that these cats have gotten is because when you're making a movie, that's not a 20-year commitment to something. That's not at the most, 8 months to make a movie, if that. And every scene that you have there isn't necessarily with the person you're not feeling. So if you want to hand me $8 million and put me in a scene, not just alone, but a scene with people that I do like and one person that I may not like, and say, hey, look, we need you to do this movie with this person. We're going to give you $8 million for the movie or whatever the case may be. I'm in that thing, man. I'm hugging that person. Hey, man, it's good to see you. Whatever it takes. I get so I never understood how, because you have to do so much for your money nowadays. And these movie guys make so much money. First of all, most of them doing what they love. Because how many of you? I mean, do any of us love our jobs?
No.
I don't love my job. I mean, I don't hate it, but it's if I had to name top 10 things that I love, you know what I mean? My job wouldn't be in the top 10. If you ask the actor, top 10 things that he loves, I'm sure acting would be in that top 10.
Right.
So this is what you do. This is what they pay you to do. Stop complaining to each other about, I don't want to work with him. I don't want to. Look, do your job. Go home to your $30 million mansion. Your kids who don't have to worry about nothing because you've taken care of their education. After you die, they'll be okay for life. Your grandchildren will be. You can buy whatever you want. Yo, the struggle out here is real for the rest of us.
Chief, these people are making millions to play pretend. If I can't play pretend with someone for a few hours out of a few months, then for several million, something's wrong with me. But that goes back to my point when it comes to, let me just say this, that goes back to my point with Diesel and The Rock. Diesel realizes one thing when it comes to The Rock, like I was saying. The guy is visible. And if he gets more shine than me, this becomes the Rock series more than it's Vin Diesel series. And I think Vin Diesel's very well aware of that. Because for what it's worth, Vin Diesel's not as visible as The Rock right now. He's not.
No, okay. I agree. I actually agree with that point. Because that's what I said. Like, once they introduced The Rock into the series, it started to tilt to more of the Rock series. Now, I say the one thing we're actually missing is, like, there's a premium on happiness. Like, if you did not have to go into work every day to deal with your coworker you hated for 16 hours a day and they're in your face all 16 hours, you might say, you know what? I don't need this crap. I actually rather hang out with my kids and wife. Like, I don't need to see this dude I don't like. I'm probably going to get in a physical altercation with him. It's going to cost me a lot of money. How about I just turn that one down and chill out with my kids? Like, I think you put the premium on happiness. So you're like, I don't need to deal with this dude. Like, I don't think that's being sissified. Just saying, you know what? I don't need that crap in my life.
But see, but you're saying you walked away from the movie. They still did the movie, but then everybody else had to make concessions not to do them in the same scene. So now you go to a movie and you say, this is my demand. I don't want to do any scenes with this guy. He doesn't do any scenes with me. So if you're saying to yourself, hey, I'm not going to do no more movies, that's fine. I agree with that. Hey, I don't want to work with this person no more. They're a jerk. They're insensitive. Whatever the case may be, fine. But for you to go in there, work with a person, and then be like, well, I made everybody else. Have you ever been in a room with two people who didn't like each other, made the rest of the people uncomfortable?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now you've got a room full of writers, people, yada, yada, right? Because you don't like the tension. Now, if you quit the movie or you don't want to do the movie no more, Jason, I'm fine with that. Oh, I didn't dig the dude. I stopped doing those movies with him. Okay. But now you're saying that I'm not going to do the movies anymore with these people, with these particular guys, but I'm still going to do the movie. And I'm like, well, what sense does that make? I mean, just don't do the movie then. You might as well not do the movie. But to go in there and not be feeling a guy and then having everybody else. I mean, we're men. We're men at the end of the day. You understand what I'm saying? We're men.
But the thing is, The Rock said, hey, I don't feel the dude, but I'm going to put in my work because I like having this busy schedule. I'm going to make sure I can get these scenes in and then go to my next project.
Damn right.
So he's
what did that take away from the movie, though?
Nothing. That's what I'm saying. Like, the last movie, it didn't take away anything that these dudes weren't feeling each other. It literally, like, you do your job on your side, I do my job on my side. Done.
Dude, the thing I liked about
nobody
this
missed
movie,
the
Brazil movie is they fought. They fought, Jace. You remember that?
Yeah.
That was a great part in that movie.
It makes
because
sense.
You were like, uh-oh. Well, but that's what I'm saying. So, like, what I'm saying now,
does it make them being buddies now? Like, what sense does it make for Hobbs to be working with that team?
It never made sense in the first place.
Well,
but the
whole damn series don't make sense, so we're going to ignore that.
All right, we're not bringing physics in here, okay?
Listen,
none of it makes sense. None of it makes sense.
Fast and the Furious 6 is one of the greatest movies because they don't worry about common sense, like how long an airway or runway is. I mean, that movie's just great. And if Hobbs wants to hang out with them to go chase down the evil mirror versions of them, I'm fine with that too. For me, I think they need to get their stuff together. Put this thing. I mean, because I don't think they need to make a million more of these movies. Put a bow on the series, call it a night, and just do 2 more movies so we get to 10, and go your separate ways. Go do something else.
We're not at 10 yet?
Nah, man, last one was 8. 2 more to go.
But Jeff, you see what I'm saying? Like, yeah. Why have that argument? Why have that? Listen, you only got to be with the dude for a little while. I think taking somebody out of the scenes with the rest of the people, I think that takes away from the movie what it could be, is what I'm trying to say, Jay. It's the scenes with, those are the 2 main guys right there. And they don't share a scene together?
But also remember, it's not just Rock and Dwayne don't feel each other. It's now you're putting Tyrese in there too.
Nobody cares.
The original cast.
No, look, you can replace Tyrese with Tyler Perry. Nobody will know the difference.
Oh, gosh. No.
Okay.
That would probably be the one step down. I like Tyrese in these movies, but I may tap out of Tyler Perry's starring in these. You know who I think they can replace Rock with? They can just put John Cena in.
Pretty much, big muscle guy.
And John Cena has personality and everything. He can do the Rock role just fine.
But what I'm saying is like you had the original cast has issue with the new guy. You get rid of the new guy. Just move on.
I wouldn't, but anyway, like I said,
I
if Rock can't come back, they've got options.
I mean,
I just think that
who controls the rights to these movies overall? Is it the studio or?
Man, I don't know these contracts. I know Vin Diesel is
that's the
deep
thing.
into it, so
Yeah.
because they
I just
Either
think that
way,
taking away from the two main guys not on screen together, it takes away from the movie. I think that you got the two biggest names in the movie because I mean, you know, my man Paul Walker's dead, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
you got the two biggest names in the movie because the rest of the guys don't count. Let's be honest.
Real. Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Oh, yeah.
The rest of the guys don't count. They're there, and you're fine with them being there.
But you
They're
can
all
replace
supporting
all of them.
characters. So once you put The Rock in there, who's a big name, you had Paul Walker, who counted. You had Vin Diesel, who counted. Then you brought The Rock in, who instantly, because he's a superstar, he counted. Right?
Yeah.
So Paul Walker dies. Now you got just Vin Diesel and The Rock. As far as the draw, you know, everybody likes the franchise, but now these two are now the draw. And now you're saying to yourself, hey, we're going to take the two main characters of the movie, don't like each other in real life, so they won't have a scene together. I think that just takes away from the movie. It takes away from the scenes they could have had together that would have made that movie better than what it was. That's my point, Jace. I think that men are men, and if you're getting paid to do a job, for you to say I'm not working with somebody is just, you know what I mean? Because I wish I could go in and you know what? I'm not working with this guy today. But as a man, I know that I've got a family to feed. I got to bring home that check. I need to do what I need to do. These guys here, they sign up for the movie. It's something that they have to do. Like that, I mean, they don't have to do. You don't have to do the movie, dude.
It's real
you signed up for the movie. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, 65. Because you don't have to do that. You can go in there and say, listen, man, I'm not, I didn't, I'm out the franchise or whatever you're going to do. That's all, Jason. I mean, I see where you're coming from. I just think as a guy, you or as who you are, you give the people what they want. That's what you're in for acting for, right? You're in there for. I mean, one of the main things is to entertain the folks. That's why you do these movies. I mean, granted the money, but
let's say, I'm like, do you really think this would have been an issue if Paul Walker was still alive?
No, because there were three people to share that spotlight as opposed to two.
Yep.
Honestly, if you were to replace, if the studio were to say, okay, Paul Walker's dead and we need a replacement, if they were to go cold-blooded and insert Channing Tatum, think about that for a second. Everybody would have a problem because Channing Tatum's money. He's hot. You can't deny his heat.
Channing Tatum is a dude who I think they've convinced us he's a star. I can't name a movie that he's done
Jeff, I'm not
that was killing the box office.
I'm not disputing that. But ladies show up for Channing Tatum. Channing Tatum. If he's in a movie, they want to go see it.
I don't know. I mean,
so if the
numbers
studio were to
back that up.
We're gonna put Channing Tatum in a hot sports car with his shirt off. Come on now. And bring that movie out in May. That's the #1 movie for the next 3 weeks. I'm not even gonna argue.
What did Kingsman do?
Wait.
Kingsman
I'll look it up right now. All right.
I'll agree.
All right. So
ladies love that guy, man.
He's had, was it one? Let me see, because I'm gonna count the movies where he's the star, not one of the guys in an ensemble. He was in a Lego movie, but that doesn't count. So he's had 3 legit movies where it was on Channing Tatum. 4. I'll give him 4. So he was in 21 Jump Street, 22 Jump Street, G.I. Joe: The Rise of Cobra. But you know what? I'm going to take that away. I'll give him that. I don't think he was the draw.
He should get that one.
I don't think he was the draw in that. I mean, I think that was a lot of people excited about a G.I. Joe movie, and hey, he's okay to be Duke. That's fine. But I'll throw him that. And then The Vow, okay. And then Magic Mike, which I thought would have been more, but it only made 113. So that is, and Kingsman was...
Because there's not one dude that said, you know what I want to see this weekend, baby? Magic Mike.
I don't think a straight dude now. Yeah.
Yeah, but, for what it's worth, you got a percentage of the audience.
Right.
Right? In Fast and the Furious, You add Channing Tatum, The Rock, and Vin Diesel, and you give us some good effects, some good car chases. You give us a good 2-minute trailer. You can convince your girl, if she likes Channing Tatum, to go see this with you. You'll get a good opening weekend if you put this out during the height of movie season, right? The action movie season. You'll make some money. It's without question.
All right, so I'm gonna, because we need to move on, because I got some cool other stuff I want to
Go
go to. But I'm telling you, I think they could easily throw in any one of the Chris's, because we always talk about the Chris's. They could throw in Chris Pine, they could throw in Chris Hemsworth, they could throw in Chris Evans, and they wouldn't miss a beat. And I think
not at all.
They could throw any of those three guys in there ahead of Channing Tatum, and they would do just fine with the ladies, with the box office, and that, hey, this guy's a big movie star. Come see him.
Any of them.
Avengers 4 is coming out next year. It still does not have a title. And the reason is because whatever happens in Infinity Wars is going to be a big spoiler to that fourth Avengers film. And I heard a suggestion that maybe a rumor that could be happening. I'm not quite sure if I'm excited about it or wish I had seen it in the theater and not had it randomly spoiled and thrown out for me. So I'm just kind of curious, what would make this movie, what could possibly happen in Avengers Infinity War that would make you excited or feel like, whoa, I never saw that coming for Avengers 4? Jace, let's start with you.
The return of Cap.
The return of Cap.
Like, if say Captain America is lost to us at the end of Infinity War, and they titled Infinity, Part 2, The Return of Captain America, that would be kind of a spoiler. Like, no, I'd rather, like kind of how Justice League did it. I know he's there, but I'd rather, see it in the movie.
I still think that cost Justice League a lot of money, but yes. All right, Chief, how about you?
We thought it was okay, though. I mean, remember how when we were talking first 4 podcasts, we were like, this is a great idea.
I thought it was fine, but I think it cost them money. Yeah.
What do you think cost Justice League money?
Keeping a secret that Superman was coming back in the movie. So, like, if you watch the trailers, you really didn't see a lot of Superman involved in the mix. It was just Batman and the other four.
That might have cost him some money. People didn't think he was going to return. I mean, hell, he didn't come back to the last 20 minutes of the show anyway.
But it was an awesome 20 minutes, and he kicked everybody's tail. It was awesome.
Yeah, he did, didn't he?
He did, man. It's like, I see you, Flash. Anyway, so what would do it for you? Like, what would just throw you for a complete loop? And if it was just like, wow, this happened, I can't wait now to see what's going on in Avengers 4.
You know what? I don't know. With these Avengers movies, I've never tried to like sort of like with the X-Men. I never tried to leap ahead and wish for, I guess, for a character. It would be nice to. I would like to see. I don't know, maybe Galactus in the next one, something similar. I'd love to see an Avengers with some bit roles of characters. Like, I'd like to see a little Carnage in one of these movies. Carnage has always kind of been one of my favorite Spider-Man type things, but I'd like to see like maybe they have a sort of like the Justice League has what's the Legion of Doom?
Yep.
Maybe the Avengers get who's the opposite of the Avengers here? Who's
the
Masters of Evil?
Someone where maybe they get. Maybe they get their own people, their own superpower villains who conspire against them, and try to take them out here on Earth or something like that. Because we've been in space a couple of times now with the Avengers. I mean, hell, we're almost always in space, dealing with the Tesseract, or we're in Asgard. We're we're fighting monsters from space in the Avengers movies, and maybe something here from Earth, more or less, would be kind of nice to see. But I have no idea. With these Avenger movies, I hope they can keep it going as far as the excitement for them.
Right.
So that's my hope.
Okay. I think they could go super hard, kind of like what Chief was saying, and do a Secret Wars where Thanos puts all the Marvel heroes on one side and all the movie villains we've seen so far, and have them fight each other. They could do that like in I guess we kind of did a Contest of Champions in the Thor Ragnarok, but he could have all the heroes fight all the villains, and that's the movie, and then they all kind of come together, whatever, to fight Thanos and take the Infinity Gauntlet and take all the stones, and then maybe at the end Doctor Doom shows up. The other one is Annihilation. That's the big sci-fi saga that was really epic and kind of served as the basis for the modern Guardians of the Galaxy, the ones that are in the movie. And that one just had everybody in it, and Thanos was a main player in it, and I think that could translate pretty well too. Yeah, and then maybe some Fantastic Four. I don't know. But I think there's lots of things that get me excited. If it was like Avengers Fantastic Four, because it could kind of play on Avengers 4. Anyway, so that's my thoughts. But so I was thinking about that, and I had you guys come up with some other movies that really had you shocked and surprised, and you were like, whoa, I did not see that coming at all. And I had to think about it for a second when I was putting my list together, and I was like, okay, here's some. And I didn't go with, I guess, more of the obvious ones. I kind of wanted to give you guys some leeway to throw out your options. So let's hear from you, Jace, to kick things off. What were like the 3 biggest shocks you've seen or can remember when watching a movie?
Movies, I really kind of failed. I looked at my movie collection, and I'm like, all right, we're not going to talk about Empire Strikes Back. I really was too young to actually find that as a surprise. I'm like, ooh, can somebody change my diaper? But I think the one movie that I really thought was really, I guess it was because of the ending, was in Inception. Like, the open-endedness of that, like, you're like, wait, which way did it go? Like, is this a dream? It's like, just very much like, oh, like in Memento, like, oh gosh, wow, didn't see that coming. Like those 2 Christopher Nolan ones were 2 really good shocks that I didn't see coming, and I'm like, oh, okay, don't know where I can go. I can theory craft on forever on which way to go. But those were my 2 movies that I thought were something else.
All right, first, Javon, let's go with you next.
Number 1 for me was Goodfellas, when they're going through when Henry's going through the whole explanation about Tommy being made. They set you up perfectly because he explains everything. He's a good fella. That means he's a made guy. Woo, woo, woo. Nobody can mess with you because you're part of a crew. And you see Tommy getting dressed up. You see him kissing his mother. He gets in the car with Tootie and the other guys, and they get to the house. And you're thinking, oh, man, Tommy's going to be made. And then, he gets a bullet put in his head. So that's number 1 for me. I didn't see that coming. Number 2, I got to say, was Hannibal Lecter. And albeit it wasn't a twist, it was a surprise. When Hannibal Lecter gets out of his cage and they show the face, you kind of felt like he's going to do something, but hey, young me didn't realize that Hannibal Lecter cut the face off of another guy, put it on his, and was in the ambulance on the way to the hospital, coming up out of that. I didn't see that coming. I was like, whoa, when it happened. So that's number 2. Number 3, the great film Transformers the movie, when we realized that it's actually Hot Rod that is going to be the new holder of the Autobot Matrix.
Good one.
And he is the one. He is the one.
Damn.
Because, yeah, right?
That's a good one.
Nobody saw. I didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
So that's my 3.
All right, Chief. How about you, man?
All right. 2 of them involve the same actor. The first one is a movie called The Sixth Sense. That whole time, man, I had no clue that this dude was dead.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
You watching it, you know, and it wasn't until the end where she was like, "Why did you leave me?" That it all clicked up on me. I was like, "Oh, this whole time, you know." That joint. Second one is also a Bruce Willis film. And at the end of Splinter, the Split.
Yeah.
When he's sitting there at the table and he's his character from Unbreakable.
Yeah.
I said, okay. I said, there's going to be a part 3. And that got me excited. I was like, okay. So I can't wait to see how. And then I read up on it. It's supposed to be Mr. Glass, David Dunn, I think that's his name.
Yeah.
Searching for this new guy. That's going to be good. I think that's going to be good. Which reminds me of the I Didn't See It Coming. So, you remember Deep Blue Sea?
Yes.
So, Samuel L. Jackson standing up there giving that speech.
That was hilarious.
He said, yeah, when I was stuck on the Himalayas, we didn't whoop.
I'm tired of these jakes.
Hey, dude, that was hilarious. So, yeah. I mean, of course, you know, there's some other movies, but those are the 3 off the top of my head that I thought of.
Perfect. I like that none of us had the same one, so that's cool. All right, so mine, the first one that came to my mind was Batman Begins, when Ra's al Ghul was really revealed. I was so fanboy pissed off when we saw the original casting and it was like, why are you guys making Ra's al Ghul this guy? And Christopher Nolan just like totally surprised me the whole movie. He like swerved me, and I'm like, oh yeah, well Ra's al Ghul is spending all this time, but it's like Ducard's actually Ra's, and it's like, oh shoot, he looks like Ra's. He's been that the whole time. So I love that twist. I thought it was awesome. Next up for me was Scream, the first one, because I mean, you know, when Billy gets stabbed, it's like, oh man, not Billy. And then he and Stu actually end up being the dudes who killed or who were behind all the killings. I don't think I'd seen a horror movie where it was 2 dudes running around as the killer. So that, and I had been in my head like, all right, it's this guy, it's that girl, it's this dude. I never thought at all that there were 2 guys involved in all of it. So that one was a really good twist for me. And the last one, there's 3 that I'm choosing, but I'm just going to go with this one. Saw really threw me for a loop because it was like, what? This guy was Jigsaw and he's sitting in there that whole time watching all this go down. That was crazy. I feel like there are some other cool twists in the Saw franchise, but that first one was the one that kind of put me on edge for the rest of the films. And that one was just off the chain. So
yeah, it was.
Yeah, man. I was like, yo, it was one of those, because, you know, like the ending, he just closes the door and I'm just sitting there watching the credits. I'm like, yo, that really just happened. So that one got me for real. Yeah. So those are good choices. I feel like we could probably come up with some more next time, and get Gunnar involved in the fun on that one. So we're almost done, but of course I want to get back to one of my favorite segments, the dumbest TV character of the week. And I think there's so many good options. Chief, let's start with you on this one, man. Who's your pick?
The dumbest TV character of the week?
Oh, yeah.
It's got to be the little boy. Where the hell are you going? Where you going, little boy? And then, how the hell do you get stuck inside of a tree with 3 walkers outside of it? You know what I mean?
Shouting, help me.
Right. First of all, you're in a creek. Walkers don't even walk across the water well. Just run across the creek real quick. Keep it moving, man. But after all that you've done, why did you leave in the first place? You know what I mean? They pushed you aside. They didn't kill you. They pushed you aside, so you were still there. You kind of woke up like, oh, I'm still here. And
hold up, Chief. Hold up. You touched on something. You were so much of a threat that they smooched you.
Right. They smooched him. Took his gun, left him on the ground. He gets up off the ground, runs out of the hilltop. Where was he going? Where were you going? Now you're unarmed. You don't even have your stick. And now you're caught in a tree. You're caught, and I don't know how you lucked up and found a tree with the roots that go such as those roots did. But you know what? Never mind even all that. You have to be the dumbest character this week. I mean, no little kid. Does any little kid run to the danger?
Not often.
I don't know. I don't. Yeah. You know.
All right, Javon. Here's your choice.
Oh, it's unanimous. It's little dum dum from The Walking Dead.
My dummy of the week is actually going to be Heel Rick. I think that heel turn is going to come back and bite him in the tail. Because even, it's like, I laughed when he killed the Saviors, but I'm like, you know, he's really doing something stupid. I don't know why. It's like, maybe, God, Morgan doesn't trust him because he's like, well, I was going to kill him, but, you know, I don't know, maybe I shouldn't trust you either. You know, just, there's going to be some ramification for that. So I'm putting him as my dummy of the week.
Well, Jace, you remember when my man was looking at him? The dude from the Saviors who actually was saved or spared because he did the right thing, I guess.
Alden.
Yeah, Alden. Yeah, he looked at Rick like, damn, bro, for real? So, yeah, it's already kind of biting him in the...
We shall see. All right, fellas, that's it for this episode. Thank y'all for all your expertise as usual. This episode of Lyles Movie Files has been filed. All right, hope you enjoyed that one. I just wanted to give a special shout out to everybody involved at Awesome Con. We had a great time. Jason and I were there and saw a lot of people. Like I mentioned in the show, I got to actually talk to Black Lightning himself, Cress Williams. So cool. And I was able to geek out in full display and tell him how much I've enjoyed the show and his performance and all that good stuff. Jace got to meet two of his favorites, Tom Welling and Michael Rosenbaum from Smallville, and we saw a ton of great cosplayers and just overall had a great time. So thank you again, Awesome Con folks. You do a great job. And that's going to do it for this one. I've got a bunch of movies I need to catch up on. I've finally decided to start watching all the Riverdale episodes I had on my DVR. So far, so good. I'm probably on episode 10 of the first season, so I'm super behind. But it's a really different take on Archie and company, and so far I still like it. So we'll see how long that goes. And I've got a bunch of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Gotham to catch up on. So if you're following the website, LylesMovieFiles.com, or on Twitter at Lyles Movie Files, you have seen a lot of recaps on S.H.I.E.L.D. and Gotham. There's going to be a whole lot more to come, so don't get alarmed. I'm just catching up. That's it for me. Hope you have a great week, and thank you for listening as always. Tell a friend, subscribe, and check me out on the website. Have a good one. Thanks.